Insight Sports Talk.
1, 2, talk and talk.
Insight Sports Talk. Traveling the country for the biggest stories in collegiate sports. Bringing you the news that will impact every college athlete in America. From the Ivy League to the SWAC, Big Sky to the Big Ten, Notre Dame, FAMU, Miami, or Maine. No university is too big, no college too small. We tell it all.
Talk and talk.
Inside Sports Talk with your hosts, the coach, Mickey Clayton, bringing you insight on all the latest stories from all the biggest names in collegiate sports. Join us for the next 60 minutes for Inside Sports Talk. The sports talk show of a different kind.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
And welcome to Insight. This is your host, Mickey Clayton, the coach, and we're here for another exciting episode at Cody's here in Tallahassee, Capital Circle Northeast. The name of today's show is Athletics, the significance of athletics at the university. We're doing something a little bit different. We're taking some highlights and quotes from earlier interviews with the famous Dr. Frederick Humphries, former president at Florida A&M University, and BillHayes, the athletic director one time at Florida A&M and at Winston-Salem, voted one time one of the top 5 athletic directors in black college athletics. But first, we're going to go and we're going to do what we do. The first part of every segment, we're now becoming rather famous, Rick Brown with the Lakeland Ledger on his famous Peeping the Pros. And then we have Billy Boy with the Locker Room Rant. And we're going to do that and come back to you and put today's show on the way.
Thanks, Coach. Ray Rice, whose domestic abuse case sent ripples through the NFL, was reinstated last week by a neutral arbitrator. And he should have been. The NFL initially suspended Rice for 2 games for hitting his then-fiancée in that elevator. Once TMC released that video that showed the actual incident, the league then made it an indefinite suspension, claiming they never saw the video and Rice downplayed the events. Really? What did the league think was on that video? Even if they didn't see it, which I doubt if they did not see it. Whatever. They blew it in the beginning with that light suspension, then tried to drop the hammer later. They were wrong to do so, and the arbitrator agreed. Listen, domestic abuse of any kind is wrong. Period. But everyone deserves a second chance. And though it's unlikely he will get on anyone's team this year, at least he has the right to. That's it for me. Follow me on Twitter at RickBrown91 for insights on Rick Brown. Back to you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Interesting point of view there, but we'll talk about it. You know we will.
Hey there, Coach Clayton. This your main man, this Billy Boy. If I'm dragging a little bit, it's because of the news that came out of Ohio State. They had a guy over there that had been on the wrestling team and walked on the football team named Costa George. And he had sent a text message to his mammy on Wednesday, talking about if he had been an embarrassment to the family, he was apologizing and stuff like that. They spent 3-4 days looking for him, and they found him with a handgun to his side where it looked like he had killed himself. And a lot of people was wondering what they could have did to help him. Said that it seemed like he had somebody said he might have had some concussions or something and wasn't just acting right, but one of the players, his teammates, just described him as Billy Badass, you know. But we just kind of, you know, we're gonna lower our jug for him and send our prayers out to him and his family. It's just say it. It's your main man, this Billy boy.
Yeah, both sobering commentary from both Billy Boy and Rick Brown. But insights, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. It's going to be serious, but we're going to try to liven it up some. It's insights, taking a break.
Go by Formals by Vince if you want the freshest, tightest tuxedos and suit wear, not only in Tallahassee, but the Panhandle area. You want to go by there. Let Vince hook you up. He's the man. Burlington Coat Factory is located next to it and located in the Tallahassee Mall. Go by Formals by Vince. They fit them all, the big and the tall. Coach Clayton will testify to that. Formal wear by Vince, proud sponsor of Insights.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
It's that time of the year in athletics. All over the country, people are looking for new football coaches, athletic directors. They're making changes in administration and trying to get right for the upcoming year with some of them. And we've had some interviews that have been very interesting over the last 12 to 16 months. And some of them are applicable right now today. So we were able to go back. We had a real good interview with BillHayes. And one of the things that we've talked about historically is that we always feel like your administrations are actually the ones who win the championship. They enable the coaches to be in a conducive environment, to breed success. They get them the things they need to be successful. And we have two people, Coach BillHayes and Dr. Frederick Humphries. We've been able to take some of their quotes from past interviews, and we're going to put them in this story so that you can see them and listen to them and get some insight with some of the things they've had to share.
The top man, the president, the chancellor. You know, it's about what he wants and what his vision is for the program. And if you're lucky enough to get one that really wants to win, that really wants to promote athletics, and really will really let you do your job, then you're blessed. You know, most people who make a lot, and I don't mean to come down on anybody, it's just a fact, but most of the time the people that make the decisions about the goings on in athletic, of what happens to an athletic, never play. They really don't know what it's like. They never felt the tension in the locker room before and at halftime and after the game when kids lose. They never felt the agony of defeat. They never rode on a bus 15, 16 hours after you got your panties beat. Get back home in the middle of the morning and got to go and practice again so you won't get beat. They don't know nothing about that. I know about that. I've been through all that. So I know what my coach wants before he even asks. When he walks in the office, I already got a solution. Because I already been there. I've been through all of that. You know, we rode a bus from Greensboro down to Mississippi Valley. An old bus breaking down and, you know, that type of thing. So that's hard. So if the top folk understand the sacrifices that you're making, some of them will step up and try to make it a little bit easier. And then the others that'll leave you down there by yourself to work it out. It's the same old adage. You know, we won and y'all lost. You know, when we win, we won, everybody won. But when we lose, you guys lost. Right. You know, so.
And you learn that even from coaching, how people's mindset goes about that. And you were able to take that to the administrative field.
Oh yeah. Coaching is a lonely life. I mean, you know, you out there really, you're on your own. Because if you win, who else gets graded like that? What other profession do you know that you get a grade? You either excellent or you fail every Saturday. You get an A or F every Saturday. Who else gets evaluated that many times a year? Not a doctor, not a lawyer. Nobody else gets evaluated like that. So you go out there and you win, you're a good coach. You go out there and lose, and guess what? You get an F. And you get 2 or 3 or 4 Fs or 5, then, you know, people start trying to get together in the back room, trying to figure out how to get you out of there.
1, 2, talk that. And Coach Hayes is very candid with the things that he tells us about and the things that he shares. And he gives some insight into, you know, some of the things that really happen when you be in a position to make that decision. Right now we're going to hear from Dr. Frederick Humphries, and he's going to explain to us a little bit of how he perceives athletic role within a university.
Where do you see the president's role or issue?
No, I mean, look, athletics is an integral part of higher education, right? And it helps form so many wonderful memories of the time that you were in college. I mean, so it is the mechanism by which you build relationships, you share exciting moments together as students, faculty, and athletes. So you don't want to lose that, because it's an integral part of making the college experience a fantastic experience.
And see, Dr. Humphries was a former athlete himself and understands the significance of what athletics does and how it ties the university together. To be able to cheer together, the camaraderie from it, to be able to publicize the rest of the institution. And it goes along with the thought that the administration is an integral part of any athletic department's success. It's because of the administration putting them in a position to be successful and to succeed and to use it to publicize the academic interests of the institution. This is Insights. We're taking a break. Be right back.
Coach Cy Alexander, men's basketball coach at North Carolina A&T State University, and I'd like to certainly promote you all listening to Mickey Clayton on Insights, and please talk that talk. It's a great program. It's going to give you knowledge on not only sports, but on life in general.
4, 3, 2.
Dr. Humphries was very active in athletics. He was a visible presence at the NCAA meetings and got to the point where they would hate to hear him even stand up and speak, because he ended up being a voice for the minority. He has some real issues with Proposition 48 and the fact that a lot of times the student athletes that were attending the HBCUs were being denied entrance and a chance to participate and to get educated. And he talked about what the bottom line was, which was money. And from that, he was not a very popular figure, but he did speak his mind, and he had some of that here.
One of the problems I had about athletics, it wasn't a problem with FAMU's athletics, but for the NC2A to say that you can't send a kid home if something happens to their family, right? If they die, then you can give them a ticket, but if something else happens, a sister got pregnant, and you need to go home and be with the family, that it was against the damn rules that you couldn't give a ticket to go home. I didn't like that stuff. I did not like that you could not help people to be able to respond to things that is unique and important to them, right? So I always had trouble with that, and to be facetious, right? So I said, you know, you're talking about saving money. What we need to do is put a cap on the salaries of the coaches. I wasn't talking about y'all. But to pay somebody like a guy at Alabama $5 million, right? But you can't send a player home if his sister got pregnant and you got a single parent out there who's suffering because the daughter went wayward, and you can't go home see your damn mother, right? I mean, but you can pay the head coach $5 million, right? And I said, no.
You told him that, though?
Yeah. I said, let's put a cap on the coaches and spread that money out. If you want to talk about saving money, let's do some things to limit how much money you can spend on these damn coaches. And when you do that, you free up a lot of money that you can do these things with. But I mean, that is the threat. To me, that is the threat to losing athletics on our campus. Because the money, all these decisions that these guys make that hamper you, when they set Proposition 48, that was for the big boys, wasn't for us. But they wouldn't let us have an athlete that we could recruit that came who didn't meet the requirements of Proposition 48. They wouldn't let us have one, even though that was not a problem in our context. It was a problem in their context. So what they decided to do, what they did was to set Proposition 48 at a level that they would be comfortable with the athlete, not what we would be comfortable with, right? And then denies you those athletes, right? Because what would happen is if you had gotten a decent number of the superstars who fell into that category, you start whipping their asses, and they couldn't have it. So if they couldn't have it, then they were making sure that you couldn't have it, right? And so I had great moments in participating in the NC2A.
Back for the next segment. Thank you.
Casinos by Events is no longer here. If you want the same care, it's now known as Formals by Events. Go by there. They fit them all. They fit the big and the tall. Located in the Tallahassee Mall. It's the place to go where you know that you'll be looking sharp, where you'll be looking clean. And everybody will be wanting to know, where did you get your formal wear and your suits from? Go by there for the individual care. Vince will hook you up. He'll look after you. Formals by Vince. Tallahassee Mall.
Ready? Two minutes to close.
Okay.
3, 2.
Thank you, Dr. Humphries, for allowing us to go back and recapture some of the words that you gave us in an interview 13, 14 months ago. And it's still applicable today. Proposition 48, a lot of us thought was a turning point in athletics. They wrapped up the ability to recruit some of your minority student athletes and tied it around education. Where if you didn't believe in it, then you were saying that the minority students would not be able to reach the educational requirements that the NCAA had set. A lot of the HBCU institutions spoke out against it because they felt like in the end we were not educating the students that were our students. That was the mission of Black College, to be able to take some of the students that didn't have the same advantages that other students had and make them useful, viable contributors to society. The interview that we had today, Dr. Humphries, BillHayes, shared some things, some insights with you that are still applicable. And we're going to continue on this track. And next week, we're going to talk and hear from both of them and another guest that we interviewed about the role of the athletic department, the athletic director, how you select one, how you select a football coach, and we're going to continue this. Stay with us next week. The show that you've heard today, you've heard some pieces from Dr. Humphries. You can find it on Spreaker, and both Dr. Humphries Part 1, Dr. Humphries Part 2. You can hear it in its entirety. And BillHayes, they're part of the Insights Legend Series. We appreciate you being with us. Stay tuned next week. It's Insights.
Insight Sports Talk. Insight Sports Talk. Traveling the country for the biggest stories in collegiate sports. Bringing you the news that will impact every college athlete in America. From the Ivy League to the SWAC, Big Sky to the Big Ten, Notre Dame, FAMU, Miami or Maine. No university is too big, no college too small. We tell it all. Insight Sports Talk.
Stay up to date with the latest from Insights. Visit our website at insights.com. 2 I's in the middle, INSIIGHTS.com.
Insights is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises and is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. The comments of the host and other individual speakers on Insights represent their independent thoughts and representation.